Thank you, Steve. Uh, as you've heard, I'm Lila Sapinsley, and I think I am uniquely qualified to speak on this issue since I was both a senator and a delegate to the Constitutional Convention. In both cases, I was sorely disappointed. I went into the legislature with great hopes for government reform. This was way back in 1972. I thought there were many, many issues that needed to be addressed, and I very eagerly proposed them when I was in the Senate. However, most of the issues that I had addressed, things that we are still talking about, like line item veto. In those days, we were talking about separation of powers, the way judges are selected. All of these good government issues were referred to committee where they languished and died. And so I never was able to accomplish what I had hoped to accomplish in the General Assembly. Then came an opportunity to serve as a delegate in the Constitutional Convention. And I thought that since the Constitutional Convention was going to be devoid of politics, this was the way it was proposed, that delegates would run without party affiliation. And I thought, here is the opportunity I have been looking for. This is where I can get those good government reforms enacted. However, it didn't take long after we had been convened to recognize that it was much the same as the General Assembly. As a matter of fact, I have frequently said that it was a mirror image of the General Assembly. What happened was that since the delegates were elected by representative districts, they were pretty much the same as the people who served in the House. They were either the friends or the relatives of people who served in the House who could not serve because of their party affiliation and because they were then sitting in the House. So we didn't get unaffiliated delegates. We didn't get delegates who were accountable only to the people. We got delegates who were the same as the representatives in the House, who listened to party bosses, who represented special interests. And when the good government issues came up, the same thing happened that had happened in the General Assembly. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you of a couple of little anecdotes. When I first entered the Constitutional Convention, I guess I say this immodestly, but I'm going to say it anyway. I thought I was well respected, and I thought people around the state thought that I would make a good chairman of the Constitutional Convention, and I decided, therefore, that I would like to run for that position. It wasn't long after I announced that one of the operatives in the State House, the staff in the State House knows more than the people who are elected, came up to me and said, "Don't run for chairman of the convention. You're just not going to make it, because the Speaker of the House is calling all the shots, and he has decided who the chairman of the convention is going to be, and it's certainly not going to be you." Well, I ran anyway, and of course was defeated. Then came the chairman of a committee. I was made chairman of the executive committee, and I thought, gee, that's wonderful. How nice that they did that for me, because there are a lot of executive issues that I want to address. But I soon found out that the members of the committee were all members who paid allegiance to the Speaker of the House, who was calling all the shots. So once again, it didn't do much good to be chairman of a committee. The things that I proposed either languished or were defeated, and we never got anywhere. And so that's the sad story of what happened to the last Constitutional Convention, and why I am saying there is no point in having another Constitutional Convention as long as delegates run from the representative districts as they have before, because we're going to get the same thing. It's going to cost a lot of money, and we're not going to get anything accomplished. Instead, I am recommending to everyone I know, please put your efforts into electing good people to the General Assembly. please put your efforts into looking into the credentials of those who want to run for the General Assembly. Make sure of what they want to do, and I think that once we get our act together and we have a better General Assembly, there is no need for a constitutional convention. The things that we need to address can be done by the General Assembly. The procedures are already in place. As you know, the General Assembly did pass separation of powers and presented it to the people. And there are many, many other issues that can be addressed by every issue can be addressed by the General Assembly and presented to the people. And that's the way it should be. But what we need is a better General Assembly. So I ask everyone to please veto the Constitutional Convention, but put their efforts instead into electing better members of the legislature. Thank you.
But Lila,
Thank you. We're going to wait until everybody's spoken. Thank you, Lila.